Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your first training session of the festival today. Happy Thursday to everyone. And as all of you know, I'm here to talk about Costa Rica. I see some familiar names. And we'll be talking about the 7 reasons to visit Costa Rica. And hopefully by the end, we would inspire you to visit or send your clients as soon as possible and as soon as we can. But we will be talking about the recent restrictions. So just a quick introduction to myself. My name is Zisha, and you call me Z, and I'm the Senior UK Sales and Marketing Manager for the Costa Rica Tourism Board in the UK. So my role is primarily to work with you guys to develop your itineraries and help you sell Costa Rica. So before we begin the 7 reasons, let's talk about some of the quick facts you'll need to know about Costa Rica. So some background information. Hopefully you all know where we are located. We are in Central America, not South America. And we are a very small country with a population of 4.5 million citizens. Just to give you an idea of how small the destination is, it's 2.5 times the size of Wales. So it comes probably no surprise that a lot of people usually go for 2 weeks to 3 weeks, and they see and do pretty much a lot in that amount of time. The main language is Spanish. However, English is spoken throughout the country, especially in the areas where there's more of the tourism. And then how to get to Costa Rica. So currently BA is on pause, but I believe it will be restarting in November. It's scheduled. However, you can still fly in direct via the European airlines, so Lufthansa, Air France, Iberia, KLM. And then, of course, there is the US route as well, but with everything that's going on, we can't actually go to the US at the moment. But hopefully the BA direct route will start very soon. And then we like to say that Costa Rica is an all year round destination, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the presentation. So about the different microclimates and best times to go. So currency, I find this really interesting, is that our national currency is colones. However, US dollars is widely used. So in Costa Rica, everything has 2 price tags. One is in colones and one is in US dollars. So it's really easy if your client is taking cash. It's up to them what they want to take. Personally, I take US dollars because it's just easy to have US dollar currency if I'm going to another destination. And it's not cheaper or more expensive to use one or the other. It's exactly the same when you work out the exchange rate. And then I think what's very important is that Costa Rica is considered one of the most safest countries in Latin America. And I get this feedback a lot on consumer shows, but also fam trips or travel agents who tell me what their customers give feedback about Costa Rica. Especially if they travel around Latin America, they say that they felt the most safest in Costa Rica. And that's why a lot of people choose to solo travel or travel themselves by renting a car. Instead of having tour guides to travel throughout the country. And we'll kind of talk about the safety in Costa Rica as we go through the presentation. So let's begin with reason number 1. So reason number 1, I think, comes at no surprise that Costa Rica is known for its biodiversity. So I think whenever you think of Costa Rica, you think of the monkeys, you think of the little frogs, and we have 6.5% of the world's biodiversity. Wildlife, flora, and fauna is everywhere. And they always say you don't have to go into the national parks before you see what you want to see. And whenever we take fam trips, we always say, have a checklist of all the animals you want to see. By day 3, they've seen most of them. The reason we have so much flora and fauna is because 28% of the country is protected by national parks, wildlife areas, and bioreserves. And this is usually where all your activities happen, in the national park. So adventure and nature is very much linked, but also so is your accommodation. And one quick thing I want to point out is that in 2018, we used to have 5% of the world's biodiversity. It went up by 1.5% in 2019. So it just shows kind of the way we do tourism and the ecotourism, that we're doing something right if the biodiversity is still increasing. So what kind of animals can you see? So I've just kind of highlighted some of the key ones that everyone sees and where you can see them. So sloths. Now, Costa Rica is one of the few countries in the world that has both the 2-toed and 3-toed sloth. and you can find them all over Costa Rica. However, Manuel Antonio National Park, which is the most smallest national park in Costa Rica, it never disappoints. You can always see a sloth or two there. So monkeys, we have we have 4 different species of monkeys: a white-faced, howler, spider monkeys, and squirrel. And you can see them in most parts of the country, except for spider monkeys are more often seen in Manuel Antonio National Park and Corcovado National Park. However, the howler monkeys, you'll hear them before you see them, and they're usually all around where your with your eco resorts are. So they're kind of your like natural alarm clock. And my personal favorite is these white-faced capuchin monkeys. And the best way to see them is to go on mangrove tours. And as the boat goes through the mangroves, they're very cheeky by nature. So they want to come out and they want to like try to get your attention. And they'll jump around and try to do tricks and stuff. So they're my favorite personally. So turtles. Again, we have the leatherback turtle, green turtle, Oliver Ridley, and hawksbill. So we have four turtles. The most famous probably is the green turtle, the endangered green turtles, which come to nest from June to October on the Caribbean in Tortuguero, which means land of turtle. And I'll talk about that when we go through the map. But turtle nesting is very popular in Costa Rica, and a lot of people want to come and see the turtle nesting experience. And I think that Costa Rica, being a wildlife hub, is the perfect place to see this. But not just because you're guaranteed to see the turtles, just the way it's done and managed, again, is make sure that, as a tourist, you get the best experience, but no harm to the turtles. So the only guides that can offer this experience are local to the area. And then that kind of helps to stop the, poaching of turtles, but also it just puts in some rules and regulations, and everything done is in the dark. There's no lights, and the turtle safeties come first. So we'll talk about where you can see the green turtles when they come onto the map. But also I'd mention that the leatherback turtles you can see on the Caribbean, and the Oliver Ridleys you can see along the Pacific coast or on the opposite side. So finally, whales. So a lot of people also want to see the whales. Best time to see whales National Park on the Pacific coast. But however, I've been outside of whale season, and then I've been in September, and I was surrounded by 3 mother whales around me, teaching their offsprings to swim. So really, Marina Baleina National Park on the Pacific coast really is a whale hub. So for anyone that's really into whale watching, it's the best place to go. So I think it comes at no surprise that what I'm about to say, the reason why you should visit Costa Rica is that it's a sustainable and responsible destination. So Costa Rica is a pioneer for ecotourism, and their goal is to be world leaders in ecotourism and how to promote as a destination responsible travel. And I feel like they've already done that in so many ways, and the UN has recognized them for this. So in 2019, the UN named them Champions of the Earth for their pioneering role in fighting climate change and how they promote sustainable tourism to fight climate change. So how do they do this? How do they ensure that visitors get the best experience, but at no harm to or damage to the country's natural environment? So the Tourism Board created the Certification for Sustainable Tourism, which is the CST. And basically, it just asks that any business in Costa Rica that wants to work in tourism, so your DMCs, the hotels, the tour guides, the excursions, to be CST approved. So they have some type of sustainable element in their business model. And there's 2 tiers. So there's the basic and then there's the premium, and many are premium. And so what does that mean if you become CST approved? It means that the tourism board will work with you, and it also means that they will promote you. So for example, when I work with you guys on how to sell Costa Rica, the first thing I need to check is your local DMC CST approved? If there isn't, then that's the conversation we need to first have. And I think what I can say, what I'm pretty sure, is that majority, if not all the tour guides, tour operators we work with in the UK work with CST DMCs, which is great. It also means that not only are we protecting the country, but as a tourist, you get the best experience. Because when you come to Costa Rica, you want to be surrounded by greenery. You want to be in the nature. You want to be as close to the national parks as possible. Well, to be as close to the national parks as possible, the accommodation has to be an eco resort, has to be, you know, a sustainable property, and therefore it has to be CST approved. So what next? Our goal is to become carbon neutral by 2050. And I can say that 90% of our energy already comes from renewable sources. So we aim to be the first country, to be the first carbon neutral country in the world by 2050, but we're only 10% left. So we're nearly there. Hopefully we'll do it before 2050. And also what we launched prior to the pandemic, but I think in the pandemic, the importance of this was highlighted, was the Pura Vida pledge. And so Pura Vida is a saying in Costa Rica, which means pure life. And it's just a greeting, like how you greet each other. So, like Pura Vida, how are you? How's your day? And Pura Vida, great. And it's just like it's an ethos and a mentality to just remember to live the purest life you can, yourself as a person, but also, making sure that you're being an example when it comes to as a person, but also in sustainability. And so the Pura Vida Pledge is something that we launched, where we want to work with you guys under the trade to ensure that the Costa Rican itineraries that you're selling are Pura Vida Pledge approved. So, like I said, is your DMC or the tour guide that you're booking with CST approved? Perfect. Are we offering some kind of carbon offsetting with their booking their trip to Costa Rica? And so FIFO is a program developed by the tourism board where you can calculate your trip to Costa Rica and then donate a carbon offset on the FIFO website, and that money goes directly into the Costa Rican rainforest. Volunteering, I think people, when they think of sustainable tourism, they think about protecting the flora and the fauna, but a big part of that also is the microeconomies, making sure that your tourism dollar is being spread throughout the country and it's supporting the local neighborhood and the locals. And so choosing to book your guests into hotels where those hotel chains or those boutique hotels accommodations are working with the locals, hiring local staff, but also doing, from your 1 week trip, doing 30 days of bit of volunteering. Sorry, for your 1 week trip, doing a 30-minute volunteering excursion is not going to impact your trip, but it's in a negative way. It's only going to help give back to the local community. So that could be visiting the local wildlife sanctuary to help out, or the local community, and then respecting the environment is just basically Costa Rica and what we stand for, and choosing any destination that promotes sustainable and ecotourism, which is, I think, very important right now, because since everything that's happened in the pandemic, the world's had a chance to heal, and nature's had a chance to restore, and it's important that we keep it like that. And then the Quality Assurance Act is just an answer to the pandemic, and it's just making sure everyone that is CST approved also is approved in terms of our quality and safety insurance, to make sure that everything that we're offering is following the protocols. And how Pura Vida Pledge works is that if you just do one of these acts for your client and just get them to do, book with a CST or carbon offset, it has a big impact. So it's your choice. You can do the one thing in your itinerary, which will have the biggest impact, or you can do all of them, which will have a massive impact on your footprint. And so that's the Pura Vida Pledge. But I'll talk about our online training course near the end, and there's more information on the Pura Vida Pledge there. So reason number 3 is that we are a unique destination. So I'll spend a little bit more time on these slides and just talk about our destination. So like I said, we're a very small destination, 2.5 times the size of Wales, but you can see and do a lot. And I think a lot of people, when they first come to Costa Rica, it's not until you come to Costa Rica you realize how diverse this country is. There's a lot going on, and as we say, it has a little bit of everything. And so this is a map of Costa Rica. And so I'm just going to talk about a typical itinerary that goes from coast to coast. And as we go coast to coast, you will see As you enter a different region, the culture changes, which most people aren't aware about. The climate changes. So if the climate changes, then the type of wildlife that exists there changes, as also the type of flora. And then there's the structure of the land changes. Therefore, the type of activities you can do is very different. So before we kind of go through this, let's start off where you fly into. So BA and the European airlines all fly into San Jose, which is in the Central Valley where the star is. And then you'll see the Caribbean coast on my right. And where it says Tortuguero, that's Tortuguero National Park. That's for where it's best to see turtles. At the top, on the top north, where it says La Fortuna, that is where Arenal National Park is. And then next year, where it says North Pacific, this is Guanacaste. So this is famous for like resorts. And then down where it's Mid-Pacific, where it says Yaco, there Manuel Antonio is right there, so the smallest national park. And where it says Dominical, that's Marina Blanco National Park. And that is where the best place to see whale watching. And actually the coast there is a natural whale tail. So it's very interesting that that where the coast is a natural whale tail is where the whales come. And then down south, where it says Puerto Jimenez, that's Osa Peninsula, and that's kind of off the beaten track. So I'll talk, and so now let's kind of talk about a typical itinerary. So you fly into San Jose.
Zishan, sorry, I'm just jumping on to say you've got about 3 minutes left to get through everything. I know you're only on point 3, so I thought you might want to things along a bit.
Sorry, I completely lost track of time there. So, and then on the Caribbean coast, you have the Caribbean culture, and it's the best place to see the turtle. So, and it's the best way to start your trip because you go to Tortuguero National Park, and in Tortuguero National Park, basically you're surrounded by waterways. So it's a great way to start your trip because it's like a digital detox. And May to October is the best time to see the turtles. And then you come into the middle of the country, and that's the adventure zone. And that's where Arenal is, and that's the famous Arenal volcano. And this is perfect for zip lining. And next to it is Monteverde National Park. So that is where you do your hanging bridges through the clouds. And the zip lining as well in Arenal National Park. And then the culture here changes again, and it's more of the cowboy culture here, and it's great for cultural tours. So kind of experiencing that cowboy culture and learning how to, gastronomy. And also, because it's Arenal National Park, we have a lot of hot springs there, so it's great for wellness. And then the Pacific is where people want to end, because that is where the beach, so we have beaches on both sides, but here it's more about the resorts on the beaches. So it's where people want to relax and do the water activities. So the surfing, snorkeling, because we have a lot of marine life here, and some of the best seafood. But it's also a wellness destination, so a lot of people come here for wellness retreats and breaks. And so this is some of the adventure that you can do: the whitewater rafting, windsurfing, scuba diving, kayaking, sport fishing, scuba. And I'm just going to quickly go down to entry requirements. So visit CostaRica.com for the entry requirements. So you do need to download a health pass where you have to place your travel insurance. But as of now, if you are double vaccinated, you do not need to provide travel insurance, but you'll still need to download the health pass. So you can visit CostaRica.com for more information. So I think I will apologize because I lost track of time there. And I will say that head over to Pura Vida University.com, and that's our online training site, and everything is in much more information there, and you can download this presentation, and you can learn about the different regions and the activities you can do there. And perfect. I am so sorry we went over time on that.
Lovely. No worries. Thank you very much, Zishan. You're just so passionate about Costa Rica.
Yeah, sorry.
Alicia's just asked if you can post the website for offsetting emissions in the chat there for her.
Yeah, I'm just about
great. And yes, if I could ask you all to please move into training room 2, where Daytona Beach will be starting their presentation right now. Thank you very much, Zishan.
Thank you. Bye.